The week in politics. Now, this week, Julia Gillard has been in New York. I think she flies out shortly from New York. She's been doing her best to secure us a spot on the UN Security Council. Now, Tony, you had this to say about her earlier this week.
Our Prime Minister should not be swanning around in New York talking to Africans. She should be in Jakarta right now trying to sort out the border protection disaster.
So the PM was in New York, but so was the Indonesian president. We now have the photographic evidence that was released by the PM's department.
Sure.
To rub your face in it to an extent.
And Karl, look, we need more than a photo op. We need a strategy to stop the boats. Now, she's been prepared to spend 4 days in New York over the Security Council bid. Fair enough. There's been no comparable initiative with Indonesia to stop the boats, and we've had more than 100 boats in 100 days. This is a disaster which just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Where is the serious, sustained government initiative to work with the Indonesians to cooperate to stop this evil trade?
The Sydney Morning Herald reports this morning that your and the opposition's ambivalent attitude towards this UN Security Council seat is going to cost us that seat, or could possibly cost us that seat. Your response?
Look, if we can't beat Luxemburg, there's something wrong, frankly. Yeah, I mean, seriously, Karl. I mean, that's our competition, Luxemburg. Now, if we can't beat Luxemburg, there's something wrong with us.
But you are ambivalent towards the whole process, aren't you?
Look, if it's a question of being off or on, I'd rather us be on. If it's a question of winning or losing, I'd rather us win. What I'm against, Karl, is the distortion of our foreign policy priorities for several years now because of this seat. We've redirected our aid to places that aren't really our prime concern. And here's the Prime Minister spending 4 days in New York when she's not prepared to spend 4 days in Jakarta on something which is absolutely vital for our national interests. That's why I keep saying we need a Jakarta, not a Geneva focus for our foreign policy.
Let's move on to electricity prices now. This has been a very, very big issue with our viewers all of this week. The Australian Bureau of Statistics yesterday said that power prices have skyrocketed 72% in 10 years. That's 5 times faster than inflation. Email after email from people at home who are hurting paying their bills. You say you'll wind back the carbon tax.
Well, I won't just wind it back, we'll abolish it.
You may get rid of it, but...
No, we will get rid of it. No ifs, no buts, it's gone under a coalition government.
Will that make enough difference to someone's bill?
Well, it immediately means that rather than going up, your power price is going down. Now, the carbon tax is not the only factor in price rises, but right now it's at least 50% of the price rise around Australia. It's 80% in Western Sydney. It's almost 100% in Queensland. So getting rid of the carbon tax is the best thing we can do to take the pressure off prices.
You must acknowledge and concede that there are these other factors that are creeping into all these bills. So how can you be absolutely certain that the bills will continue to go down even if you get rid of the carbon tax?
Well, if you take off 10% of the cost, the price should go down 10%.
I understand that, but if a bill, say for example a bill of $500 compared to $400 or $300, which is what people are telling us compared to last year, even if that component is taken at that $30, yes, it's a saving of $30, but no one's getting control of the power companies here, no one's getting control of the assets. It's a short-term fix.
But if you reduce the cost structure, you reduce the price pressure. And don't forget, there is competition in the market. You see, the thing that worries me, Karl, is that every day the Prime Minister and other ministers are saying, oh, the carbon tax didn't hurt anyone. No one's really upset about the carbon tax. If they think they can get away with the carbon tax, you know what that means? More tax increases are coming. And with this mob, there'll be class war tax increases, more means tests, more attacks on people's superannuation and so on.
It's a big issue. I think Nick Xenophon's onto something here in terms of taking control of the electricity rules. I have noticed you have had a particular penchant for animal references in the last couple of days. I'm just going to play you a couple of these references now. Let's have a look.
It's going to be a python squeeze rather than a cobra strike. This is an octopus embracing the whole of our economy.
Have you been watching too much when animals attack?
Now, look, I'm not going to make light of this, Karl. I mean, seriously, on your program,
the animals are getting smaller.
Well, but the carbon tax is getting worse. That's the thing. I mean, the government has been making light of this, but no one No struggling Australian family that's getting its power bill is making light of this right now.
Tony, good to talk to you. Thanks for it. It was a truncated version, a much smaller version of the interview today, but we appreciate your time.
I'm always glad to be with you, Karl.
All right, thank you. Georgie.